Hello and welcome. In this video guide we're going to show you how to modify one of the standard call center reports. The first thing we need to do is access the reporting system, and we do this by clicking on the reporting link over here within the web admin screen. As you can see, this takes us into the reporting system and displays the default dashboard tabs. The report that we're interested in changing for the purpose of this video can be found here within the Historical Agent Reports dashboard tab. The specific report that we'll look at modifying is called the Outbound Calls Summary Report by Day, and you can find this report in the associated report section here on the right. We need to click on this to maximise the report and enable us to see the filters. If we now complete and run the report, we can see that it produces a tabular report with a count of outbound calls for the system as a whole, along with various associated call handling times such as average dialing times and average talk times, etc. The report, however, breaks this down on a per day basis for the system as a whole. Ideally, what we'd like to do, however, is to modify this report so that it displays the names of the agents that have made these outbound calls in the left-hand column, and then break the report down by agent username per day. In addition, we'd also like to add another filter to the report that will enable us to choose which agent or agents to include within the report, instead of always having to run the report for all the agents. This will enable supervisors to select and run a report on the agents that are under their management. Also, whilst we're modifying this report, I'd like to add in a new column here in between the average talk time and average hold time columns that shows the maximum talking time per agent for each day. To protect the original report, we're going to make a clone or a copy of the report and make the necessary changes to the copy rather than the original itself. To do this, we click on the copy button here on the report menu. As you can see, after clicking on the copy button, the system now opens the clone or copy of the report in the editing screens at step 1. In this screen we can see the following. Over here on the left we're presented with the available data fields that, using drag and drop, we can place into the various areas of the report. Up here we can see the report columns, and the data fields that you place here define the data that is displayed within the report table itself. Down here we can see the data fields that are being used as the report filters, and over here we can see the areas where we can define report sections to further visually break down the report. Over here on the right hand side is the area that allows you to change the style or output of the reports, from whether it's going to be a column or row based tabular report, or whether it's going to be a graphical chart based report. For now though, the first thing we're going to do in this screen is expand the agent folder in the data field section, and we're going to simply click on the agent username and drag and drop this into the columns section, carefully placing this right at the top above the date field. The order that you place the data fields within the column section defines initially where the data will appear within the report table. As we want the agent's username to be displayed in the leftmost column, we need to place this right at the top, as you can see here. We're now going to take the agent's username again from the data fields area and drag and drop this into the filters section, and we're going to drop this just above the top date range filter. This is going to allow us to select specific agents when running the reports within the report filters area. I also mentioned that we wanted to add the maximum talking or on-call duration per agent per day to the report, and that we'd like to see this in between the average talk time and average hold time columns. Okay, so to do this we're going to open or expand the logical call folder, find the on-call duration, and then drag and drop this into the columns section, carefully placing it below the on-call duration and above the on-hold duration that's already there. As you can see, we're already using the on-call duration data field in the column section, but if you look carefully you'll see that this has a symbol displayed against it that indicates that it's using one of the standard aggregate functions. In this case it's set to display the average value. Next we're going to highlight the data field that we've just added, and we're going to use the standard aggregate functions at the top and click on the plus symbol, which if you hover your mouse over it you can see that it tells us that it's a maximum function. With the new data parameters added to the report, we can now go to step 2 at the top of the screen, which controls how the report filters will be presented. You can see here the agent username that we dropped into the report filters in the previous step. Ideally I'd like to see these presented in a list view that the supervisors can select from, so we're going to click on this drop down box and select in list from the available options. I'm quite happy with the way that the two existing date range filters are displayed, so we'll leave these alone. The next thing to do is click on step 3 at the top, which is the report preview screen. Okay, on this screen you can now see the new agent username filter that we dropped in at the top of the report. It's not looking quite how we want it to look at the moment, so we'll modify this to get it looking how we need it. So if we click on filters here at the top and select agent username from the list, we can now edit the properties of this filter further. Here we can see on the screen that this filter has a default label of agent username in list. Ideally I'd like to change this, so I'm going to click on display and in the description field type agent username. Clicking close, we can now see that this has been updated here. The next thing to look at is how the agent's username filter is displayed on the screen. Currently you can see that it's displaying text boxes that enable you to manually type in agent usernames. But as you can imagine, in a large call center with many agents, you may not know the exact spelling of all the different agent usernames. So what we're going to do is click on entry style, and we're going to say that we'd like this to appear as a drop-down style list. I'm then going to click on this refresh link here to briefly display the list of agent usernames that the system already has within its reporting data. But I don't want to have to come into the report each time to manually refresh this list of agents in the filter, so we're going to do a scheduled refresh and set this to refresh every 30 minutes. This now means that if new agents are added to the system, those new agents will be picked up by the filter within 30 minutes of being added. If we close this, you can now see that the agent username filter is displaying all the individual agents, and from here you can select single or multiple agents. If we select all and then click on the go button here, you can see that in the resulting reporting data the agent username in the left hand column on a per day basis, exactly as we initially said we wanted. And we can also see that we have the max on-call duration over here. Ideally we'd like to format this column slightly differently from how it's displayed currently, so that it matches the columns either side of it, centralizing the values within the column, and also change them so that its time format displays like this, as currently it's displaying the number of seconds. I'd also like to change the agent username column here on the left. Currently it's showing the agent username multiple times within the table, once on each row. It would be preferable if we could change this so that each agent's username was only displayed once if possible. So what we're going to do is scroll back to the top of the screen and click columns here to edit how the columns are formatted. Let's turn our attention to the agent's username column first and click on agent username within the drop down box. Click on display and select suppress duplicates. If we now click on close, we can see that the agent's usernames are displayed only once, but they're still broken down on a per day basis. So now, looking at the max on-call duration column here, ideally I'd like to use the same background colour that we can see displayed in the other time-related columns. So initially we're going to go and look at the average talk time column first, just so that we can go and get the hex value for this particular background colour. So I'm going to select average talk time from the drop-down list, and then go to the style menu option. We're then going to find the background colour and then copy the hex colour value here. We're going to then click OK and then on close. Now we'll select max on-call duration from the drop down, and I'm going to click on style and open the background colour panel, paste the hex colour value and then click OK. Also, whilst we're in the style menu, we can centralise the text within the column by clicking on the centralise icon and then click on close. So now you can see that the text is now centralised and the background colour has changed. The value is still showing as seconds at the moment, and we may also want to change this column heading as well, as it's a bit longer than we require. So what we'll do is click on display and we'll change the description to be max talk time, like so. And we'll select days, hours, minutes, seconds from the format drop down box and then click on close. So now we can see max talk time as the heading, and we're now displaying it as a proper time format here. The report is now looking pretty much as we need it, but currently it has this label with the word copy in brackets at the end, and this report is still only a draft copy. What we need to do is activate this report by clicking on Report here at the top and then going into the Save option. we're going to change the report name to be Per Agent Outbound Calls Report Summary per Day, and then we'll activate the report by clicking on the Activate option here at the bottom, like this. So this report is now active as a private report, and what I can do now is to add this to my favourites by clicking on the Favourites link here at the top, and this will add this report into the My Favourites section, which can be accessed regardless of which dashboard tab I'm currently viewing. Now if you forget to add the report to your favourites, you can still always access the report by clicking on the Report List link here at the top of the screen. And then using the available categories and subcategories, you can then drill down and find your report. This now brings us to the end of this video guide. Thank you for watching.